The High Performance Canada series is brought to you by 475 High Performance Building Supply. This series is also brought to you by Inotech Windows and Doors.
Today on the Build Show, we're in beautiful Whistler, British Columbia. This is a high-performance panelized ski chalet designed by Stark Architecture. Let's go check it out. All right, Dave, we're here in Whistler, British Columbia. We are about a 10-minute walk from the top 5 ski resort in North America. This is a beautiful setting for a new home. I just love how it's nestled in between this like traditional Swiss chalet style home and then this log cabin, and we have this what's going to be a beautiful new mountain modern style home. So talk to us about what these clients came to you with and what their visions were for this place.
Yeah, absolutely. So there was a 1980s cabin on this site which was leaky, cold, super uncomfortable to be in.
Yeah.
The client approached us to do demolition and removal and build a really energy efficient house that had to be built fast.
Okay.
So we designed, this is a step 4 house, so it's one underneath the level of step 5 or the higher level of passive house.
Okay.
It's got a 1,500 square foot basement, and then it's got about 4,000 square foot upper 2 floors.
Got a lot of space packed into it.
Yeah, these ski cabins, they've got to have multiple visitors, big family gatherings.
Yep.
So we used the combination of some smart design techniques, but then also utilizing the prefab. The benefits of prefab is that we can kind of condense that whole building schedule with the builders so that they know that the panels are finished on this day. They've got the roofer coming in the very next day. The panels were delivered here in September.
Okay.
And we had the roof on before the snow started flying in October. One of the tricky problems with this design is that it's a sloped roof, as you can see.
Yeah.
But the front walls here are also angled. So on the top plate, there's a 2 angled cut along the top, which was tricky, but easier to do in a factory than doing on site.
And with 3D modeling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so all of the panels have a 2-dimensional cut on the top, and then the panel just gets lifted right onto the top.
Okay.
Perfect.
And I can see the integration of the steel coming in through the center section over on the left there.
Absolutely, yeah. Heavy snow loads in Whistler, so there tends to be a fair amount of steel in these buildings, but we can model all the steel within our prefab design as well, and have all the hangers, as you can see up the top there, pre-hung, and then the panels just get lifted in between the steel.
So we got our ICF foundation connecting with the corner of our garage wall here.
Yeah, ICF up to this. This is the plate that the tag panels guys will install to accept the panels laying on. If I do a pull back here, we can see the Mento membranes covering the Gutex insulation on the outside here. We leave this open so that once the insulation goes on this side, we can wrap it around and it's super airtight. So here's some additional samples of the Gutex that we used. So when you take a look at the actual board itself, it's a wood fiber used as a waste product. It's then condensed under pressure. It has 1% paraffin intermixed with it to provide some moisture wicking. So water will actually run down this. And then it's a sheathing product here, so tongue and groove.
So it's basically a mixture of waste wood, sawdust, and glue and paraffin.
Exactly.
Paraffin is oil, right? Some kind of oil that allows it to have that sleek
moisture wicking.
Yeah, and then a bit of a texture to also help with that too.
Yeah.
Right? This is your airtight envelope running through the garage, so you can see.
Exactly. So this is our vapor retarding layer. So this replaces that poly I was talking about. This is plywood that's then taped with the Tescon Vanna. This is super airtight. So this is a really easy method of us to meet those strict air tightness rules that we have.
Yeah, and it keeps the site super sane too, because he or she is supposed to be the air tightness officer, right?
Yeah.
So this is a much more obvious thing instead of poly, and it's much more durable in terms of not bashing this up during construction, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
This beam is catching the upper floor patio door, it looks like.
You can see there's an absolute ton of panel work and complexity going on in this ceiling. This is all possible when you site frame, but when you prefab, these are individual panels that are built in a nice shop.
So this angled section here is also a piece of this panel?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Everything fits in just like a puzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the grand entryway, a really important feature of Whistler houses. All of the interior walls here were prefabbed as well. and then all of the interior floors. As you can imagine, a really tricky job to do if we were site framing, but because we're just dropping it into place and nailing it off, very efficient.
You just take care of, 50 feet of hanging in one drop.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Main living space is an inverted floor plan, which means that we've put the living space, the kitchen, the dining room on the upper floor to take advantage of those big views.
Absolutely, you need to have that view.
Yeah.
And then a skylight above, that's going to be flooding this whole glass and concrete stairwell with natural light. That'll be beautiful.
So we're hoping to use a Lamelux, which is a Passive House certified skylight, triple glazed, to obviously add to the envelope performance that we're getting with the tag panels.
Yeah. Are you guys using any kind of different insulation around all the steel? Like, are you spray foaming certain spots, or are you just keeping with the Gutex?
The Gutex runs over the top side, so we break the thermal bridge. Then we would pack the underside with a Roxol or a bat. We try to stay away from spray foam as much as possible to keep our carbon footprint down.
Yeah, okay. So another key player on this project is Sean St. Amour from 475 Building Products. Sean, why don't you just walk us through quickly what your role is on this project outside of selling these awesome ProClima membranes?
Yeah, so in this particular case, Tag Panels and Stark Architecture has been doing high performance for a while. So for them, they typically do the takeoffs and know what they need, and then they can just kind of place the order. Other builders, if it's their new build, I'll walk through an estimate, go through all the products where we need to put high performance tapes versus the membranes and some of the other fun products that we can supply this type of project. This is again a nicer project that I like to work with because it's got another added feature with our Gutex wood fiber insulation. So again, having that low embodied carbon product on the outside to stop thermal bridging is a really nice feature of the panel in this process. So just understanding how all the products work together and how they can be integrated through the prefab side and the on side, and then also be working with then the general contractor who then has to take on. And we talk about air tightness, it's a team. And so in this case, the panel provider provided the panels to be airtight, but then there's the connections between the window and the wall, or wall to foundation, and then how do we deal with it?
So here you can really see how easy it's going to be to make this roof to wall connection super airtight. One more strip of tape down this seam where they meet, and that's a fully airtight joint. Here you can see the connection between the two panels. Basically, they'll fill this in with maybe some more rock wool in these connection areas, install a plywood strip and tape it, and that's done. Next step, they're going to install their partition walls. Then they're going to fur down ceilings where they have to be to run all the mechanical and electrical. You'll notice that these panels up here, they're 100% reserved for air tightness, insulation, and then basically to keep the weather out, of course. And then there's nothing mechanical or electrical run inside of these panels. Everything that's mechanical and electrical, HVAC, sprinkler lines, any home audio, everything that even down to the smallest wires is run in that service cavity. They're going to frame down after, probably just with 2x4.
Having that connection with the trades, because they kind of get some of the stuff, and the first few steps, it might be a bit of a challenge, or not knowing the language or how things kind of work, and kind of visually go through them about, oh, here's that connection point. We're going to go from plywood to tape back to the plywood, or structure to the window, and how does the air barrier go through? Because sometimes people, again, you can do the red line test on a drawing, but when it comes to on site, you got to visually say, this is that red line that's connecting all the pieces from not just the 2D, the 3D, because some people just can't see how that needs to work.
When we start basic passive house training, we're looking at two-dimensional wall sections, just a straight wall, but we're not looking at stuff like this, where you have angled beams and connections all flying into each other, and that's where it gets really technical.
Yeah, and what I like about the job site here is you kind of really get to see that gift wrapping approach with air tightness. How you got to fold membranes or tapes to get around things, and in a drawing, you're right, you just, let's put a piece of tape there. The architect says, that's where the tape needs to go. The guy gets here and he's like, I got to put a tape from this angle to over here, and how does the tape bend or doesn't bend and get around there, and what are some of those solutions to ensure you've got that continuity of air tightness throughout the entire project.
This is basically a prepped opening already in the entire panel, ready, basically like just about ready to accept your big patio door here. Once you guys prep the sill, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So another benefit of the prefab is that we can prepare all these openings ready for the windows and sliders. So we wrap the exterior WRB round and we tape it with the Tescon Vanna back to the plywood. So that's our airtight layer. We can do all of the openings here, and then on windows we actually put a sill sealer down as well.
You put the sill pan in.
Exactly, yeah. Here's another example of just really being as efficient as possible with our membrane and as clean as possible.
Yeah.
Most of the staples here are, there's only about 8 up this wall, and then the staples that we have on the rest of the field we actually place underneath the strapping. So to creating more air tightness as well. No point in having staples out in the field that can get moisture in them or that we have to tape after.
So you're using that strapping to hold the membrane down. And the other thing you notice here is that there's no wrinkles in this membrane. A lot of builders will underestimate the necessity to have a flat membrane. It allows the membrane to last so much longer.
Absolutely.
When there's no wrinkles at all, it's perfectly flat. Well, thanks, David. Amazing tour, amazing project. Like what you guys are doing here in my favorite place in the world, in Whistler, BC, is just so awesome. I would be thrilled as a client to have you as my architect and Tag as my panel manufacturer. Absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you.
No problem. Cheers. What a cool job site right in the heart of Whistler, British Columbia. Thanks so much to Gavan Construction for letting us look around today. Of course, thank you to Tag Panels and David from Stark Architecture for showing us this great job site. We'll see you guys on the next one.